WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
All right, thank you for tuning in this Monday morning. One of the gems of Ocala is the Ocala Civic Theater. I have become a big fan of the theater. Robin has been a fan forever, right, Robin?
Yep, since it was in the old building.
So I've been going to more shows the last year. Yeah, Robin's been going since
73.
Yeah, 1873.
Yeah, that's right.
Long time. Let's see. In the studio, Shelby May Randle is in the studio. She portrays the character of Billy Doyne. Boy, that sounds like a fun character, by the way. Yes. Shelby. This is for the play Born Yesterday, just so you know. This is at the Ocala Civic Theater starting on the 18th. And James R. Taylor III is in the studio also, portrays the character of Paul Verrill. Is that how you say his name?
Paul Verrill.
Verrill. Yes. Paul Verrill. Also in Born Yesterday. So good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming in.
Absolutely.
No problem.
So what is this show about? It's a comedy, right?
Yes.
Tell me about the storyline.
Yeah. Oh, they gave us a poster for it. A ditzy dame gets smart and shows the big guys who's boss in this all-American comedy.
Wow, you the ditzy dame?
I'm the ditzy dame, yes.
Yeah. You're like a showgirl or something, right? Your character
she's Billy Don's an ex-showgirl, yeah.
But she's smarter than people give her credit for. That's what that's what the idea is.
That's the big message of it.
She gets there.
I get there eventually with some help from my friends. And by friends, I mean just one person.
Yeah.
And you're the person?
I am the person.
Did that body language give me a clue there? She said just one person?
Yeah.
So tell me your character. What does your character do?
Paul Verrill, he's a reporter for the New Republic. And,
okay.
Yes, he hears about the big right-wing capitalist guy, Harry Brock, coming in, and he says, no, this is going to be a story, the biggest story since the, what'd you say? The
teapot.
Biggest story since the teapot.
Wow.
It's from the script.
That's funny.
Which is obviously wrong, but
like a lot of things I say.
But no, there's he's very much a radical of a reporter. Not very big on big capitalist associations.
He doesn't like capitalism.
What? I'm sorry.
He does not like capitalism.
Correct.
Your character.
He does not. No.
All right. And who's the main bad guy? I guess.
Harry.
Well, you're like your boss, right? He'd be What is he? What is he? He's a bit Harry Brock.
I'm kind of like his mistress, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Harry Brock, he's a big bad guy. Yeah.
And this takes place in 1946.
Yes, sir.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Right after World War II.
So how fun is it for you guys to do this one?
I've been having a lot of fun with it. I've never played a character like this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like getting
Sounds like a fun character.
She's very fun.
Right?
She's very fun. But it's hard to, try to add depth to this character that could very easily just be like, oh, she's dumb and that's funny. Like.
Well, that's interesting you say that. I mean, that gave us a little peek into the mind of an actress. I mean, you're trying to give the character more character.
Exactly. You should always try to do that.
Is that right? Now, so tell me what we don't know as an audience member. What do you do when you get a script? Do you look at what's supposed to be there and say, what can I add to this?
Pretty much.
That's for both of you, really.
Well, it depends on the type of actor you are, I guess. But that's technically what I do. Basically, what I like to do, getting all like methody, is I always go through a script and I go, okay, what do I want out of this situation with each scene? And sometimes it changes throughout the course of the play. And with this show, her victory, in a sense of the show, it changes from Act 1 to the third act. Yeah.
I find that fascinating. So does that have to align with what the director's vision is? Sometimes, not always.
Sometimes.
In this case, how about this case specifically?
We haven't really talked to Carlos too much about it.
About our personal characters.
He's basically like, move this way and make sure you talk this way.
Oh,
and
okay.
If I don't like what you're doing, I'll tell you.
Okay, so as long as it works and he sees that it works, then it's in the show. Okay. And does the same thing go for you?
Yeah, I think our own personal acting choices are really just made by us. I mean, because there are some things that we might not necessarily agree with the director on, as far as, this is, I don't know, sometimes he wants us to have certain mannerisms, and it's like, okay, that's not necessarily how I would have portrayed this character, the way I read it. How did I connect to Paul? How did she connect to Billy? But we take their guidance.
Well, when you are reading the script, when you first get it, so for example, you're seeing each other's words. Do you imagine a certain character, not your own, but the other person's character, and do you have these discussions later on?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you first rehearse?
I think we talked. There was an instance like a few days ago where like James made a decision like during a scene where he kind of looked at me a certain way, and I took it as something completely different than what he intended. Like I was like, "Hey, you're kind of being a jerk in that scene," and he was like, "Oh, that's not what I meant. Thank you for letting me know that."
Yep.
Yeah.
Really? And so, but how do you know it's James and not his character? Or do you not know?
Whenever we're on stage, I assume it's his character.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would hope the same for me as well.
Well, that is interesting. So, do you ever like if two characters get into a disagreement on stage, is it hard to separate what you're doing on stage for like later on when you go have lunch together? Does it stick with you somehow?
Personally, no.
No?
Yeah.
No, for me, it's just when I'm in character, I'm only in character, and I'm no longer myself.
Yeah.
And then when I leave, I'm just back to being James. So
That is
Well,
cool.
that keeps it less confusing, though, right?
That's very
absolutely.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I would have a hard time with that. I would be me. You'd be yelling at me. I'd say, "What are you yelling at?" I wouldn't get it. I'd be so done with that stuff.
Well, there are some people that are very good actors, like James, for instance, and sometimes like he'll be talking to me in a certain sense, and I will find myself like getting hurt because I take everything because I'm a very emotional
do you really?
actor and person in general. So yeah.
Oh, that is cool. I find it fascinating. I've enjoyed the theater so much. Robin has gone, like I said, forever. And about a year and a half ago, she started saying, "Hey, do you want to go?" Because she goes with her mom. And then she'll come back and she'll
Yeah,
say,
we buy season tickets.
She'll say, "Oh,
every
it
year.
was great. You got to see it." And I'll say, yeah. And she'll say, "Well, I'll go." So the two of us go on like a Friday if she sees it on a Thursday. And that's just, I haven't found one I don't like. You guys are so good at what you do.
Thank you so much.
Since it is a period piece, will you be wearing your own hair, or do you have a wig that you
I
do
wear a wig. Yes, it was funny because I've been a redhead for a very long time, and I remember I got casted in the show, and I'm like, okay, Billy's typically blonde, so I hope that doesn't come back to bite me. And Carlos, like, I think it was like the 5th day of rehearsal or something, he went, "Shelby, about your hair," and I went, "Oh no!" And he really wanted me to bleach it. I was very terrified, but I was like, "Hey, I'm an actor. I'm willing to do it. Like I've always said, I'm willing to change my hair." Yeah, but our costume designer talked about it, and it would be so much easier if she just wore a wig.
Okay.
So.
And how do you like the wig? Do you like?
I love the wig.
When you look at yourself after you put the wig on, do you like transform more?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Costumes always help me get into character.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is cool.
It really helps, especially in period pieces. You know, because it's a little hard to be like talking in like this certain accent and like, you know, walking this certain way when I'm just wearing like leggings and running shoes like I usually do.
So tell us a little bit about yourselves, James. We'll start with you.
Yeah.
Did you grow up here?
Yeah, mostly. Born in France. Let me throw that
In
in.
France?
Really?
Wow.
You have
Born in
dual
France,
citizenship?
and I do. Yeah, I do.
Nice.
Where's your? Do you speak French?
I do. Yeah, fluently.
And where did you? Well, I won't know if you tell me the city. I mean, give me an idea. Is it near Paris? The only thing I know.
Born in Paris, but we live still about 30 minutes south of the border of Belgium. So
okay,
we're way up there. About the same. I want to say latitude is probably New York City.
So do you get out? Do you get back there at all?
Yeah, I actually went back this summer.
How old were you when you moved here?
I moved here officially to stay when we were 6, but we kind of moved back and forth until I was about 12-ish.
Wow. So you have some real childhood memories.
Yes.
So what was the attraction of the U.S. and specifically Ocala? How'd you end up here?
Dad, military dad, French mom, and Dad got sick, wanted to come back and live close to his parents. Mom said, "Okay, I'm in love, so let's do it."
Oh, nice.
So we came back, and then we just kind of stayed.
Are you an only child?
No, got a younger sister who's doing so much better than I am in most ways.
Well, she's not on the radio.
Oh, yeah. How did acting become part of you? How did that happen?
I did some small things in like elementary school, middle school, whatnot. And then I was taking a theater history class just as a general elective in college. I went to college in St. Augustine at Flagler College. And the professor of that class, she was also the director of the theater. Director of the theater at the school. She said, "Hey, don't forget to come audition for student-directed shows this Friday or whenever it was." I said, "All right, sure, I'll come do it." I auditioned. I got into 2 separate student-directed shows, and I did them, and I really enjoyed them. And everyone was like, "James, you're really good. You should do this more often." Okay, so I'll audition for the next big main stage show, which was Macbeth that year, and I got the titular character. No, I did not. I wish I did. But
I was like, you never told me that.
No, I got to kill him though, so I played Macduff. And so that was really fun, and I just changed majors, and I never looked back.
Really?
Been doing it ever since.
And how long ago was that?
Macbeth was in 2014.
Oh, okay.
And then I stopped going to school at the end of 2015 because Flagler is really expensive. For a guy that doesn't...
And acting doesn't pay the bills?
Nah, not really. No. Not so much. I mean, it could eventually, but right now...
It could eventually, yeah. And when you hear stories about these multi-million-dollar actors, you go, okay, that'll happen one day, right?
Hopefully.
Right, yeah.
I don't even shoot that far.
Shelby, did you grow up here?
I was born in Tallahassee, but I grew up here, yeah.
Okay. Do you still have family up there?
No.
No, okay.
I mean, yeah, all my secular family lives here. Well, I mean, kind of. My 2 brothers moved away. But, yeah.
Okay. So how did you end up in Ocala?
I think my dad found it easier to live here with his work, so we just moved here. I barely remember. Well, okay.
So you were little when you moved from Tallahassee?
Yes, I was born in Tallahassee, but I'm from Perry, Florida.
Okay.
But Perry, Florida didn't have a hospital.
It's a tree capital of the world, right, Perry?
Perry?
Isn't that the tree capital?
I don't think so.
I thought I read that somewhere.
It's so small. There's nothing there.
There's a tree that went to the moon, right?
Apparently, a lot of trees. People go there to hunt.
There's a tree that went to the moon in Perry. No?
What? Yeah.
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 They brought seeds.
I guess we moved and we didn't look back. So.
I could be wrong, but I think Perry is the city where the astronauts brought some seeds to the moon, and they brought them back to Earth, and then they planted them. So there's a pine tree growing up in I think
there's
Perry.
a state park
I feel like
there.
this would be the first thing I would tell people. It's like, I'm from Perry. Did you know?
We have a tree that went to the moon.
We took a tree to space.
So how did you get into acting?
How did acting? Basically, I tried a bunch of stuff when I was younger, and nothing really stuck. And I remember...
Like what? Like, was it all creative?
Like, I did swimming, and I did gymnastics, and I did cheerleading, and all that stuff lasted for about a year until I went...
sports kind of things, okay.
Yeah, and I'm not athletic at all. I'm not. Like, cheerleading was awful. Like...
So were you drawn toward the arts, like music, etc.?
I mean, I sang a lot when I was a kid because I watched a lot of Disney movies. But the thing was that I wasn't the expressive one in my family. It was my older brother, Lucas, who James went to school with, actually. He was kind of the comedic, funny, big, loud one. And I remember he did a show at Ocala Civic Theater. He was in The Jungle Book. And I remember watching
really?
I remember watching it and being like, I could do that. And then my mom was like, okay, we could try that. And so I did classes, and then I started doing shows, and my mom went, oh, this will be a fun little hobby for a little bit. And now I do it exclusively, and that's it.
Is that right? Wow. So
yeah, I've been doing it since I was about like 8.
Is that right? Wow. And how much older is your brother than you?
He's 5 years older than me.
Oh, big difference.
Yeah,
then.
And he doesn't really act anymore. He's a poet. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, but there's a creative streak in your family, either acting or writing or something.
It's funny because my brother and I are considered very creative, and but neither of my parents are considered like artists.
Well, they created you.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's a joke.
Isn't that
And James,
I don't want to think about it.
James, you do a variety of roles. I mean, we saw you as the dad in The Giver, and that's totally different than this kind of.
Oh, you were the dad in The Giver?
I was.
Oh, that was awesome.
The Giver. Yep.
That was a different kind of a play.
Yeah. Very gray. Very gray. In both the color aspect and the lack of emotion aspect.
Yeah. So in this one, you are funny.
Yes, I try to be at least.
It looks like you both could do this well. I mean, you both look like you got the ability to be comedic actors.
Thank you.
You don't think so?
I get that often. That sounds very braggy. It's like people always tell me I'm so funny. That's not true. But yeah, I think it's mainly because I'm very loud, and people are like, I could see it.
So how do you know when it's working?
People laugh.
Yep. That's
so the audience makes a big difference then, right?
Absolutely.
100%. Yeah.
You will love opening night. You know why? She'll be there.
Yeah.
It'll be completely.
She's the best audience member ever.
Always something.
She's always the first one to clap.
Oh, I love that.
Always.
I love
Thank
that.
you.
God bless people like you. No, it's really true. Like, because people come to shows and they're like, I'm sorry, I was laughing so loud. I was like, you should never apologize for reacting appropriately in a show.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, it really
thrive
makes
off
it.
of it.
If you want to watch a good show, make sure you're reacting because it really affects the energy on stage.
So what else might we have seen you in?
The last thing I did was Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Oh, so I saw you in that too.
Yeah, I was Mrs. Potiphar in that. I had a short black wig.
Oh my gosh, really?
You were the lady at the top of the stairs.
Yes, I was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That was
sexy
really
lady
good.
with the great legs.
Thank you very much.
Oh wow, yeah. I didn't get that part. I didn't know the Bible story. So when we saw that one,
It says in the Bible in Exodus or Genesis that she had great legs. So they really wanted to make sure.
Cool, yeah.
And James, is this how your character looks on stage? The way you are
Kind of, actually.
dressed
Yeah,
now?
yeah. I mean, it's nice because this is kind of how I dress anyways. Because I like looking good. But yeah, I mean, just picture this with horn-rimmed glasses and, less stubble. And this is...
Oh my gosh! And that's a pretty intricate character that you're playing because he's a reporter, but then he also cares.
Yes, yeah, that's a difficult thing. Being hired to teach Billy Dawn the ways of the world, as they say, show her what's good and what isn't, while also him, I think, very quickly falling for her. It makes it a bit difficult to kind of separate the work aspect, getting paid to teach her, while also just really getting to know her brain. And really loving that.
So the information that we've been reading says crooked businessman Harry Brock, played by Roy Hamlin, made his fortune on junkyards and a lack of scruples during World War II. In the fall of 1946, he's in Washington, D.C. to bribe government bigwigs into shady deals. Harry has brought along quite an entourage. His showgirl mistress, Billy Dawn, played by Shelby May Randle in the studio. His perpetually inebriated attorney, Ed Devery, played by Randall Mooring, and his yes-man cousin, Eddie Brock, played by Gene Zanetti. Is that any relation to Judy? Is that Eddie? Is that related? You don't know?
Do not know.
Who keeps the drinks filled and the payoffs coming. With the colorful characters in and out of Harry's suite, the hotel staff, oh my gosh, Greg Bleem, Susan L. Cadillo, is that right? Jenna Dickens, Dion Bruce Howard. We've had Dion in here.
Yeah.
He's a superstar.
He's
Yeah, he's awesome.
It's so funny because he's such a leading man, but he has one line in the show.
I think that I thought that about him. I thought about
he
him.
doesn't. It's Oscar-worthy line.
I thought that about him in the Joseph one.
Oh yeah.
I think he was. I'm thinking, how come the star's got the extras role, kind of a thing. Anyway, he's very good. And Ken Noble. We've had Ken in the studio also.
Yeah, he's amazing.
So anyway, so it sounds like a funny play, and it starts on the 18th.
Yes.
And when you do the different scenes and everything, do you have clothing changes, costume changes?
I do.
Yeah, I do not, because I'm not as rich as their characters are. So I've just got the two outfits for the two different times.
Oh, really?
Act 1, I wear this. Act 2, I wear this minus a hat.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay,
So
that's pretty amazing.
Is there anything big right now on Broadway that you would like to see, or you have seen? Or what's going on in the world of acting that you have on your wish list?
I just heard that Be More Chill is going to be produced for Broadway,
Yeah.
which would be pretty cool. 'Cause they did that a couple months ago.
Yeah, I was in that as well.
Is that right?
Be More Chill, yeah. Which was, oh my gosh, it was so much fun. That is a fun show. I would like to see it on Broadway. Yeah.
Is it worth it to make the effort to try to get a gig on actual Broadway in New York?
One, if you're good,
To get a gig? To get
Yeah,
to
yeah.
You're
to
all
get
good. Wait a minute.
chosen for the theater.
100%.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Personally.
I've seen plays. You guys are very, very good.
Well, thank you very much.
So please, if it ever is something you want to do, I would. How do you do that? How do you like audition for that? Do you need an agent?
You got to know people.
Yeah,
you do have to know people. It really, and like even at the theater, it kind of goes down to who you know.
Wait a minute. Do you want me to call somebody up?
Yeah, go for it.
Do you know people? Because I would love that.
We know everybody.
Everybody.
We know everybody for 20 minutes, and so
Yeah.
they call in for 20 minutes. Oh, while we have them on the phone, we say, "Hey, by the way, I've been trying to help. Robin and I have a publicist in New York who is a designer."
Oh.
And she's really, really good, but she hasn't had that big break yet. Her designs are unbelievable.
It's hard.
So every time we have somebody on that's like in the designing world, I'll say, "Hey, by the way," and I'll tell them their name. I'll tell them her name. I mean,
Yeah, and
Yeah.
her website.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we can do the same for you.
Go for it.
Yeah.
I would do it in a heartbeat.
I would love that. Take any help.
So
yeah.
we went to see a thing at the Riley the other night. We were in the very back row.
Is it Avenue Q?
No, we saw the
it was a-
Ocala
it was a
Symphony
concert.
Orchestra.
Oh,
It was a concert.
okay.
It was so good. But the
Yeah.
point, Robin made a good point. She said we paid $15 for these seats. These same seats at Hamilton would be $800.
That's right.
Yeah. So.
I think I heard a quote on like John Oliver or something where he said it would be it's easier for a meerkat to get into Harvard than it is to get tickets to go see Hamilton. And like I remember the last time I went to New York, everyone was like, "Did you see Hamilton? Did you get to go see Hamilton?" And I was like, "No, I don't have $1 billion."
Floating around.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Since the Ocala Civic Theater puts out in advance what the whole season is going to be for the following year, do you take that information and do you go through it and scrutinize to see which ones that you want to try out for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of good ones this season.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are you both? Do you audition for singing roles also? That does not apply to this one, right? There's no singing.
No,
I sing a
Well,
little.
Yeah, you do, yeah.
But it's very awkward. Yeah, no, well, I mean, we were both in Joseph, so we both sang in that, yeah.
What was that movie, A Star Is Born, right now? The guy, Cooper?
Bradley Cooper.
He said he wasn't a singer, but it sounds like he's doing pretty good now, right? That's
It's so funny how many people say they're not singers and they really are.
Is that right?
And James, do you feel that you might be a mentor for up and coming actors since you said you were in theater for the student productions?
Saying, do I want to mentor the students?
Yeah,
No,
that
not in
would
any
be-
way. I don't think that I am a great example for many things, except theater. Yeah,
And
I would,
for theater, yeah.
yeah, I would definitely. I'd love to. It'd be great.
And on the night before opening night, do the schools come out to see the performance then?
Yes. Yeah.
So is that more scary for you performing in front of the students because they seem to be more honest than adults?
More scary. I think more scary because it's our first show in front of people. That's probably what I'd be more afraid of. But no, it gives us a good. It gives me personally a good basis of like, okay, what is funny? What are these people going to laugh at? What are some people going to try to hide their laughter at? I mean, there could be some raunchy humor in there. I mean, of course, not very raunchy.
Right.
But, there could be some things that some people wouldn't necessarily want to laugh at because, oh, no, I can't laugh at this.
Yeah, right.
Kids laugh at everything.
That's
Yeah.
very true, yeah.
Yeah, which would be good.
Well, you're both really delightful. Thank you, Shelby, for coming in, and James, thank
you.
you for coming in.
Absolutely.
And good luck with everything. Keep in touch. Let us know, what the next things you're part of, and I'm sure Larry will help us learn what you're doing as well. So,
Absolutely.
and we'll see you. Robin will see you on Thursday. right?
Thursday, my mom and I,
Yeah, Robin being the
wait.
Robin is not only the first person who applauds; she's the first person who stands up for a standing ovation.
People start beating me though sometimes.
I've seen her.
I'm never mad at it. Never mad at a standing ovation.
I started clapping at the concert the other night, and the song wasn't over. I thought it was. I was the only one clapping. I was trying to beat her. I was saying, I got to beat Robin one time. And then she says, you got to wait for the maestro to put his arms down. I didn't know there were rules. You guys are so sweet, and both very attractive. Thank you for coming in here and
Thank
gracing
you.
us with your talents. James R. Taylor III, thank you. Shelby May Randle, thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you both.
much.
We'll be right back.
a lot to love about Freddy's frozen custard and steak burgers.
I love like the really like little thin crispy fries.
Love Freddy's for the patty melts and the turtle sundaes.
It's gotta be the custard. It's gotta be the custard.
The California steak burger is my favorite.
It reminds me what burgers used to taste like when I was a kid.
I love Freddy's.
Stop in for Freddy's famous steak burgers, cooked to order and topped your favorite way, all on a butter toasted bun. Freddy's frozen custard and steak burgers, the taste that brings you back.